Hi everybody, my name is Sinus. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you like the video, please go ahead and like the video as well, if you like it. We have a glorious Model D wireless in this bag. I daily drive a Model O wireless mouse. This thing has been incredible for so many reasons. It is good for gaming, it is good just for general use. I could even just use the mouse on my bed if I'd like to. This thing has been incredible for me in so many ways for so many reasons. And recently, Glorious decided to go ahead and actually release new versions of their wireless models of their mice. Starting with the Model O, of course, which is the first one that came out, and they just recently added the Model D wireless. And the main difference between those two is that the Model O wireless is more of a one-size-fits-all type of scenario where lefties and righties can use it because it's very uniform in terms of its look. The Model D has a bit of a curve to it, so that way it's more ergonomic. I'm gonna go ahead and open this box with you guys and basically tell you about the contents that are inside and maybe share the differences between the Model O and the Model D, if there are that many, and if you should upgrade or if it's worthy of your money to go ahead and make the upgrade. So let's kind of go inside of the box. This is the Model D wireless mouse from Glorious. And you can see here that I have the Model O, which I've been daily driving basically the whole time. So let's go ahead and open the box. The box basically looks the same, almost identical as the Glorious O wireless mouse as well, just to put it into context. So when you open it, you get yourself your mouse. And yes, I did switch over to white because my keyboard was, I think, it definitely matches a little bit better having the white mouse. And I kind of was beating myself up for getting a black mouse, but now I actually get to have a white one. And it is interesting looking. Remember, the old ones did not have, I don't know if you can see it or not, but it says remove on all the blue sections of the G skates. So I will go ahead and do so just now. And then I'll go over more of what's inside the box as well. But let me just get rid of these first. Nice. Okay, and the G-skates are exposed. It's sort of a similar thing going on here. Very similar in terms of looks. The bottom ones are a little hard to see in the camera, but they are exactly the same size, same everything in terms of the G-skates. So let's go over what's in the contents of here. We have our wireless receiver here, which I have the black one on my other one, so it is black. And it's a little blurry because I'm using a Logitech Brio, which is not the best thing for YouTube content, but it is one that I can just face down immediately. Inside the box as well, when you lift this, you get a USB cable, which is black, which is the same as the Model O. You get additional Glorious Model G skates. These were not included in the Model O, which is actually a nice touch. I might add these later on, but I guess we'll find out how that looks or how that works. You get your little Glorious card, I guess you can say, just a how-to or whatever, or just a, hey, we're Glorious, and you are too. Here's the manual, which I'm not going to read because I'm just not going to read the manual. Let's compare the feel of these two mice, because I have not actually done that kind of comparison yet, but we'll see what happens. So this is my first time using the Model D at all, not even a wired one. I've only used the Model O, which I've been a fan of ever since I started using it. So it feels really nice in the hand. I like to, do all kinds of grips with it. I kind of bring it up close, far away, kind of laxed. The feeling of it's good. The G skates feel great. Honestly, hasn't been an issue at all. But put that aside, this is my first time ever using the Glorious Model D. Ooh. So the buttons on the side feel a lot bigger. If you can see that. The side buttons on the Glorious D are a lot bigger than the buttons on the Glorious O. The top profile almost looks taller in a way, but I could be wrong though, but it does feel taller. I'm not really sure the dimensions, but we'll go over those really quick too as well. In the hand, It elevates my hand really nicely. I like how big the buttons are. I like the angle of how it's at. The scroll wheel is the same. The DPI button is in an easily accessible area. It's a little bit less accessible than on the Glorious O, because on the Glorious O I'm able to just kind of quickly snap into different DPIs, whereas on here, if I'm kind of doing it, I have to do a little bit more of a stretch, where this one's kind of a little bit more immediate, if you can see that. It's a little bit thonkier, if that's a word to use. Than the Glorious O. The matte finish on this feels great. This one also had a matte finish too. You can kind of see that my wear and tear has gotten into this mouse a little bit. So I'm gonna kind of keep that there, and we will go over some of the specs here. So here we are with the Model O and the Model D on their website. They both retail black or white for $80. You can see that the pre-order now, and this is the add to cart. If we scroll down, we'll see images of the product. Fast and responsive, silky smooth. They both use a 2.4 gigahertz wireless connectivity in order to actually connect them. They both use the BAMF sensor, which is their sort of own sensor they use on the bottom of the mouse, which in my opinion feels fantastic. Both the Glorious Model O and the Model D wireless are both 69 grams. They're both a matte finish. Both weigh exactly the same. Both are available in the exact same colors. They both boast the same battery life. In my experience, if you blast the color on these mice to like 100% or even past 50%, you will notice that you're not going to get that life expectancy. It will drop significantly. If you use like maybe 15% or 20%, you'll notice the color still, but it's not as deep. But you will get a longer battery life out of your mouse. So definitely recommend using like 15% or 20% brightness if you're going to go that route. Both can be played while the charger is in, while they're both charging. Both have a honeycomb design. They have 6 programmable buttons. They have full RGB. They both use that extender dongle. Both use G skates. But you also get these additional G skates as well, which is pretty sick. The Model O does not have that. The Model D does. You still use the Glorious Core, which is sort of their program, which enables you to change DPI or change the colors or make it brighter or dimmer, whatever the case may be. So let's check out the dimensions of the product. The Model O is 61 millimeters, so is the Model D. You have a length of 128 millimeters, which is also the same on this one too. This one has a 66 millimeter base width, and this one has a 67 millimeter base width. The height on the Model O is 37.5 millimeters, while the height on the Model D is 42 millimeters. So I was correct. That's the back. That's like the highest point, it looks like. So I was correct in saying that the Model D feels taller than the Model O. But if you already know how Glorious makes their products, if you already know how the Model O and the Model D wired work, it should be the same, roughly the same. And yeah, when you look at the actual information, so they both have the sensor, Glorious rated, 20 million clicks. So, Omron Mechanical rated for 20 million clicks. So the Model O is rated for 20 million clicks, and the Model D is rated for 80 million clicks. So you're gonna get a little bit more mileage, it seems like, out of the Model D versus the Model O. That's just based on that number alone. I'm not sure what that's using or anything like that, but that's what it says. Everything else is the same on these items, except for just the ones that I mentioned previously. What's in the box? You get the mouse, you get the cord, you get the dongle, and you get the adapter. This one comes with the mouse, the cord, the wireless adapter, the extender dongle, and Glorious G skates. And this is the difference in what you get from the Model D, which I actually like a lot because, it allows more glide It feels great usually, and people do like that. So let's see, this is what I wanted to know as well. I don't know if this is charged or not. The power is off. I'm gonna turn it on. So now it is on. I see a light indicator. And what I want to do, it's really bright right now. I'm gonna lower that because obviously if I keep it this way, the battery will deplete hardcore. We will not have life in this mouse for very long if we keep the brightness at this intensity. Okay, so what I wanted to know really was if I can use just this cable. I mean, this is just a USB cable, but if I unplug this and plug this in, will Glorious Core actually just recognize this as a new product, and how simple will it be if I were to do that? Let me actually do this really quick. So now we have everything loaded up. Glorious Core recognizes my Model O wireless mouse because it obviously should. We're updated basically with the newest version of this, the newest version of Model Core. What I'm going to do now is unplug this dongle from mine and plug in the new one for the Model D and see how quickly it recognizes it and see what happens in this instance. I'll unplug. Doesn't recognize anymore. You plug in the new one. It's setting up the device. Let's turn this off really quick. And we have our Model D. It recognizes it immediately. Let's go into performance. Let's make it 3200. Save. Perfect. That's how I like it myself personally. And everything else basically looks the same. Lighting, let's take down to 15% because that is way too much to have it at that 60% because it will die immediately. And there you go. You have the mouse recognized. Looks to be functioning pretty well. I mean, there's no issues. It is definitely a thonkier sounding mouse. It's gonna take a little bit of time to get used to. I'm not even gonna lie. Especially to switch the DPI, especially if I'm like playing a game like a shooter or something like that. I want to change my DPI really quickly. I like the big buttons here on the side. What bothered me a little bit was the buttons were a little bit smaller on this one, but thank goodness that has been changed for the better, hopefully. Overall, I like the way it feels. I like the way it's designed. And right now I don't have any issues with it. So I guess with that said and done, thank you very much for watching. If you took something away from this, then go ahead and give the video a like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps out, and I will be posting more content for you guys. And hopefully you enjoyed this review of the Glorious O versus the Glorious D, and more importantly, a quick review of the new Model D wireless. Time will tell in terms of how it feels in games and things like that. I haven't tested that out yet. This is kind of a first view or first glance at how it looks, how it feels, and things like that. So, thank you so much, and have yourself a good rest of your day, and peace out, peeps.